Our support for President Ramaphosa is a political and organizational support. We support him because of his commitment to the project of renewal of the African National Congress and repositioning the ANC as a movement of the people. That is why, without fear of contradictions, Limpopo says Cyril Ramaphosa for the second term.
A declaration of support for ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa to lead the party for a second term. ANC Chair in Limpopo, Stanley Mathabatha, says ANC branches in his province have backed the leadership of Ramaphosa. Regional conferences in the Vembe, Norman Mashabane, Bitamokaba and Sekhukhune Region have concluded, whilst Waterberg still has to hold its regional conference soon. The ANC's 110th birthday comes against the backdrop of the July unrest, Parliament being set on fire and the attack on the Constitutional Court. Alliance partner the SABC did not mince their words, saying they suspect a connection of these events.
As the SACP, we smell a rat. We are very suspicious that there is a connection between the July 21 offensive and the torching of our parliament.
COSATU has welcomed the release of the first part of the State Capture Commission report. It demands the recommendations be implemented.
We welcome, President, the release of the first part of the Zondo Commission into state capture. We are also saying as a federation, asifuni ukuyibona this Zondo Commission report ifana nesereti Commission on Arms Deal. Because almost 1 billion was spent on Zondo Commission. Just printing the report, they have spent 1.5 million, which is taxpayers' money. The recommendation must be implemented with no failure.
Alliance partners also echoed the call to renew the oldest liberation movement on the continent.
Intense lobbying has begun as the ANC embarks on a roadmap to its December elective conference. This as Limpopo has publicly endorsed ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa for a second term. Natasha Piri, SABC News in Polokwane.
Well, for more on the January 8th statement, we're now joined by political analyst Professor Barry Hanyane. Thank you so much indeed for joining us. Welcome to the programme.
Peter, a very good evening to you. Good evening to you.
Some might say that this was a much anticipated January 8th statement, given the state of the party and also some of the events in the lead up to today. And I just wonder, when you look back and reflect on what the president said, your first thoughts and reflections on his message.
Peter, high on expectations, but unfortunately low on delivery. I was thinking that we're going to move from the old rhetoric position of not only providing a descriptive analysis of the plethora of challenges that this country is going through, let alone the party itself, but we could move more a substance-based solution proposal that will then for once invite enough support and confidence from the public. I'm afraid it came short in convincing me that indeed there are plans on the table to tackle a whole range of issues, chief amongst others, the renewal of the ANC itself, at a time when the party is faced with a lack of effectiveness, efficiency in Luthuli House, perhaps by and large, poor working condition of volunteers and staffers, non-payment of salaries, and an engine that is not contributing towards the effectiveness of the party as a machine. We now understand and know by now that the Secretary General is suspended, Deputy Secretary General she's at home sick. So it's a party in limbo, and I would have appreciated that some kind of a proposal detailing activities that will be undertaken in the coming few months. Again, a sense of agency will be put to bear. I'm afraid I was left gaping at the delivery of the speech itself.
All right, perhaps let's start at the beginning and talk about, what is the purpose of the January 8th statement? Historically, it really was about looking at the state of the organization and setting an agenda for the year ahead, my understanding. And then, whilst it's an internal ANC document, the public really ought to pay attention, given that this is the governing party, and what the governing party decides affects the nation, doesn't it? So on that basis, could he have said more? Because, I mean, there's the State of the Nation that's coming, where the actual things of the country get stated. And maybe in his January 8th statement, it's more of an overview, with the branches and the party getting a more detailed action plan behind closed doors.
Peter, intention is key here than anything else. Part of the speech played on nostalgic references. We understand that, and no wonder why the 8th statement is always associated with some kind of anniversary celebration. That is traditional, it's conventional in the ANC, so that's fine. But here is a party that's almost at the ICU, and yes, the president might have a flag at that to say, but no, hold on, we're not there yet. Commentators, analysts are painting a wrong picture. We have what it takes to survive, and we're going to survive. Well and done, that's his position. But again, he's a politician saying that. On the ground, things might not look that rosy. Are branches working? What is the plan of this party to make sure that it is an oiled machine? Membership issues. Are members getting vetted? Are members placed through the processes, the rituals of the party itself? Do they understand what the ANC is all about? Or it's the old practice of joining a party so that people can have proximity and access to all manner of rewards? Is this party a party of the future? These questions should have been answered today to say, rightly so, we are the majority party, living up to the adage that it is a party of choice. It is a party that seeks to champion the hopes of the people. That today I didn't get. It was more so of trumpeting old rhetoric, a rhetoric that we know, but then the concern still stands. What about the future? What about the poor performance at local government elections on the 1st of November? Where to from here? I think there was a serious gap there, once again, to regenerate confidence, not only from the public, but more so rank and file members of the party.
All right, we'll talk about the party and the dynamics there, but wearing a public hat now, and I was listening to the speech, I'm wondering, should I be concerned? What should I be feeling after hearing that speech about what the year ahead looks like?
Peter, be concerned. Without specifics, without a party that's saying we want to see discipline amongst our members, we want to use the best minds in the party to shape party policy. We want to contribute towards providing some kind of a robust vision, not only for the party, but for the country, obviously, given its majority status. Look, you have a situation with the non-adoption of amendment of Section 25 of the Constitution in Parliament, driven by the ANC. We should be concerned about that. And yes, as an ordinary person, you want to know what's happening with unemployment. Will the party come back and say, let's relook at the economy, let's relook at the fundamentals, but more issues of the economy? Then added to that, what is the party's stance in growing and consolidating the public service? Critical on issues of service delivery, critical when you want to fight corruption in that space. These are the gaps that unfortunately still lingers on, more so in today's speech.
He spoke quite a bit yesterday and today about state capture. Do you think this report has given him permission now to talk directly to people that were named and caught up in this? Because it sounded as if, for the first time, he's really going after these people.
It can't be the sheriff, Peter. Let's caution that. We have a constitution. You have Chapter 9 institutions that are established to ensure that there is law and order and the rule of law is promoted. Give those institutions power. Give them resources. Yes, we understand the NPA might be the victim of state capture. We understand the hawks themselves. There might be, because most public institutions did suffer purging of staff, the loss of institutional memory, and all other related challenges. By now, knowing that there is a commission in place, surely we should have, through anticipation, started to build immediately those institutions. Instead, people like Bo Ramaide, people like Hemione Kronje were allowed to go at a time when we needed them to transfer their skills to the young ones, recruit, train people, so that you are able to create capacity, either prosecutorial or capacity to investigate some of these cases. So there's a bit of work that needs to be done there at a time when we anticipate that some sense of agency will be applied in this instance, and those who are found wanting, who may have put the finger in the cookie jar, will have to face the might of the law.
All right, so the state capture report does name some senior ANC officials. That's one thing. But now, in his talk, he talks about people within the party who are resisting change, who are resisting renewal, and are trying to get in the way. Nobody wants to mention who they are. Do we know who they are, and what is there to gain in trying to retard the renewal of the party?
Yeah, we can speculate that indeed, out of the number of factions, it's not just two. The popular narrative here is that there are two dominant forces within the ANC. I'd like to believe it's more than that. And if that is the case, it becomes difficult for us to figure out exactly where the evil source lies. Perhaps this could be the source that's behind the July insurgency, as the Secretary General of the SACP would like us to believe, and going forward, the burning of the Parliament building itself. Within the scope of these celebrations, we're talking here the tripping of the electricity switch. Is that nefarious, or it was indeed a technical glitch? All of these issues, I suspect one would have to sit down and analyze and perhaps make sense of it. Is there a pattern here of what could be perhaps be labeled as some kind of mutiny, to borrow from the military environment? Could it be that children of the same family are seriously now beginning to fight for power, fight for access to resources, forgetting that the will of the people is what drives a party such as the ANC, not only to exist, but to survive beyond a certain period of time?
All right, I'm going to ask you to try and be a futurist now. And this elective conference is seen as a key milestone for the party and the party's future. What do you think will be happening between now and then? And what ANC is going to come out of that conference, given what's playing out and what might play out in the next few months?
I think, for starters, let's appreciate its open sesame in terms of campaigning for key strategic positions, especially in the top six. But seemingly, there is a sense that is growing now that the position of the presidency, of the presidency, must be left alone untouched. Sekhukhune and the other regions in the province would want to be the voice behind that movement. I take it other provinces, bar KZN, would perhaps suggest strongly that Ramaphosa's position might remain untouched, although through grapevine, we're beginning to hear the punting of names such as Mr. Mutsipe. We'll have to wait and see whether indeed there's movement there. But competition will start from the deputy president all the way down to the last position in the top 6. I think it's open season now for contestation. And this is what worries me, Peter, that again, the ANC is creating fault lines, own goals. Here we are, focus is on positions and not on the integrity of the party. This in turn begins to tell us that ambition in the party seems to be sacrosanct at the expense of the integrity of the party, which will then breed a whole host of challenges.
Professor Hanyane, thank you so much indeed for joining us. Your insights always greatly appreciated. Thank you for your time.